ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। So far we have discussed about what is subtle body and the components of the subtle body. We discussed about the panch pranas, the five pranas, which are an important part, important component of the subtle body. And important thing, the inner instruments, man, buddhi, chitta, ahankar, mind, buddhi, ego, that is ahankar, and the chit. These are the inner instruments which result in the activities what we do using the outer instruments. We also spend some time on understanding the mind, understanding the power of the thought. And then we were discussing about the energy management and mind management, thought management, and then there are two streams to it: energy management and the cultivating the right attitude. So the factors that cause disharmony, the factors that create the disturbances in the mind, and eventually the disturbance in our whole personality. These factors we took from, are given in the Samadhipad by sage Patanjali. For a sadhak, for a spiritual seeker also, these are the factors that derails the progress of the sadhak reaching the goal. We are not able to live our life in a normal fashion. We are not able to reach the goals that we have thought about in our life because of these factors affecting the progress. Right? So some of these factors we discussed in the last edition. We spoke about disease, which is vyadhi, disease which is the disturbed vibration, the disease which creates the imbalance between the physical and the subtle body, the gross body and the subtle body. The imbalance that is created is called the vyadhi, the abnormal vibration. There's different ways you can describe a vyadhi. So when your body is not correct, your mind will always be disturbed, or if your mind is having issues, then those will reflect on your body. It is a vice versa kind of situation. So both body and mind, the physical well-being and the mental well-being, is important for progress in the life. The other one is the sthana, which is languor. So this is where the energy points which are there in the body, it keeps leaking. We keep leaking the energy without realizing that energy is leaking away. So the loss of energy makes us very lethargic, and the willpower becomes low. The amount of willpower one needs to reach to the goal, that gets affected. The person lives in the past. Person lives more or less like a dreamer. You dream about the goals, but you have no power, you have no will to reach to those goals. So such kind of personality is not able to make use of the buddhi, which is given, the analytical power which is given, the logical power, not uses that. The third one is the sanshaya, the doubt. So when mind is presenting, the nature of the mind is to present the dilemmas. So this whole world is a diverse world, what we see around us, and the mind, which is the first outermost layer of the inner instruments. It receives the sensations and it presents the dilemmas, the sankalpa and the vikalpa it will give. And when the buddhi is not able to resolve these sankalpa and vikalpa that mind is presenting, the doubt gets created. We start doubting the people around us. We start doubting the processes. We start doubting the scriptures. We start doubting the God. We start doubting the gurus. And above all, we start doubting ourselves. So this doubt is a major barrier, a major hurdle in the progress that we want to make in any field of life. In this context, we are discussing the sadhana and the spiritual progress, which is the purpose of the life. But any activity, this doubt, because of lack of analytical power, it creates a hurdle in front of us. Then the fourth one is the pramada, the hypnosis. So when a person is not able to take decision himself or herself, the loss of self-confidence takes place. And naturally, then person becomes more and more dependent on the others. And this dependency means you are giving the remote control of your life into someone else's hand. And then someone else starts driving you. Of course, you will not find the peace in life. You will get exploited. Your energy, your everything will get exploited. So you become an instrument in that case. So hypnosis, pramada, you go into that state. Again, a major hurdle in the progress. So now today we will continue from forward and we will pick up the next one, which is laziness or the alasya, which is there. So due to dependency on others, as the person has become reduced to an instrument, not using his own willpower and the analytical power, when the person becomes more and more dependent, the person ability to do purushartha is not there. Purushartha, the labor, the hard work, the karma which one is supposed to do in the life. So when the karma is not being there, the laziness is setting in. The subtle body also becomes heavier and heavier. The tamas gun, the tamo guna starts to build up. Sattva guna starts to reduce. So as the tamo guna takes over, the whole mind and the body becomes heavy and laziness takes over. Okay, so a person like this is not able to pursue or not able to visualize the goal of the life. The intellect is not working at all in this stage. So what is the goal of life? There is no goal. It's a goalless life the person starts to live. And the ego, man, buddhi, chit, ahankar, the fourth instrument, ego, which we are talking, it takes over at that point. And the person lives more and more or less in a very egoistic way. I, me, my, and becomes a very self-centered in that case. So fear sets in, because when ego is there, the fear also sets in. Person lives in fear, state of fear. So laziness as such, we understand, sounds a very, very casual, like, laziness, but at the level of subtle body, for a sadhak, very, very disturbing it is. Okay, it nurtures the ego and creates barriers, makes the life all the more difficult into that. Now, what happens when laziness is building up? The process to form the energies, creation of energy is going on, because there is electron, proton, neutron, the system creation is working. The matter is working naturally. Energy is getting created. But due to improper channelization due to not doing the purushartha or the karma, the energy starts to accumulate inside the body. So take an example of the pressure cooker, right? When the steam starts to build up, the pressure is created. And when the pressure is created, it surely finds a path to release it. And that's where the valve is there. The pressure valve has to open and the pressure gets released. Similarly, when the energy is building up due to improper channelization of energy, and there is ignorance that how to do the energy management, how to channelize this energy, because there is no goal in front of the person's analytical powers are not working properly. So what becomes the exit? What are the pressure walls? The sensuality. The 5 sense organs which are there becomes the windows to exit this energy out. And the 6th organ, sex organ, sense organs and the sex organ. So people release energy through this. Tamas is taking over, person gets indulged into sensual pleasures. And that's where this avirati takes place. Person is reduced to a mechanical life, instrumental life, where he is just taking energy from the nature, creating it, and then releasing it back to the nature. Person gets trapped into this vicious cycle. Animals are also doing the same thing. Eating, sleeping, generating energy, and then reproducing and releasing the energy out. Nothing much is happening there because there is ignorance. Ignorance how to channelize this energy, how to manage this energy. Person doesn't know the goal that this energy, if properly managed, can work wonders, can open the doors of immense possibilities that this human life brings with it, that human birth brings with it. So this is where the sensuality or the avirati is another major factor that disturbs the mind and creates barriers in front of the sadhaka. So the Bhranti Darshana, the delusion. So when these sensual pleasures are there, they create doshas. Living in this, indulging into sensuality, the Bhranti Darshana, the person gets doshas or the vikshepas or the impurities are created on top of chitta. We have spoken about again man, buddhi, ahankar and chit. All these create a layer of impurities on the chitta. And when this is created, the delusions are caused in the life. The Bhranti Darshana is there. The sadhak is lost between tark and vitark. Okay. And logic and illogic, and he's not able to discern between these two. Okay. So lot of thoughts continue to run, a chain of thought gets built up, all sorts of thoughts start to appear, and this is called mindfulness. F-U-L, not F-U-L, F-U-double-L. Mind is full of information, full of dirt, full of garbage, and then it creates all these delusions. In medical language, you can call it as a schizophrenia. You must have heard that, many people who are in this field, who are doing different sadhanas, they will say, oh, I got the visuals of this, I am seeing this God, that God. All these are like symptoms of delusions and the Bhranti Darshana. That means person is not moving towards clarity. We feel that somebody is seeing all these means somebody is really progressing on this path, but that is not the way. But that is not correct. That is all delusion. Because of the chitta, the impurities on the chitta are creating these bhrantis, these delusions which are there. Schizophrenic symptoms are there. I was watching one movie, A Beautiful Mind. That is uh, the real life story of a professor who won the Nobel Prize uh, in mathematics, Professor Dr. John Nash. If you get chance, watch it. Good movie, A Beautiful Mind. He went through this schizophrenia and all during his life. A different kind of schizophrenia he had. And today we are seeing more and more cases of these mental schizophrenic cases are rising because of all these factors which are creating problems. The mind is unstable. So delusions, the Bhranti Darshana, which is there. The next one is the alabdha, that is impotency. So what happens with delusions? Delusions create a web, a mirage over there, and then the person strays away from the progress. It is very easy to get lost because of some sadhakas. Under this delusion, they stop their progress. They go round and round. Some sadhakas, they think that we have reached the goal. So that is where they get stopped, and then they realize that they have become helpless. They're not able to move anywhere forward. So the whole confidence people start to lose, and this inferiority complex builds up. And that's where this impotency, the lack of courage, lack of power, lack of potency is felt by the person inside. But the person tries to pretend that it is not there. Inside, all this is happening in the subtle level, but outside, person is still trying to pretend that I am potent, and all the egos continues to show its strength, covering all the weaknesses inside. So this impotency is again a factor which doesn't lead the sadhak or doesn't lead the person anywhere in the life. It's major hurdle again, once again. And then eventually the final one is the anavasthitva, the instability. All this makes the mind too much restless. The mind, buddhi, chit, ahankar, all are there. So it becomes unstable, and the person gets all the suffering and ends up into suffering into the life. So these are the factors which are there, which derails or creates the barriers. Now these factors generate the stress in the physical as well as the mental domains, because these both are connected. And in between there is a layer of prana which is holding both the gross body and the subtle body. So due to these disturbances, the prana field also becomes narrowed. It gets contracted. Awareness gets contracted, and the stress is generated for a longer period in the life. So I think medically there is too much of literature available on what the stress does in us, in the body. But this particular chart, we will just spend few minutes how the stress acts and how the body responds to the stress. What is the response system of the stress in the body? So once the stress is generated from the unstable mind, the factors what we just discussed, they create stress. It is reflected. The signals are there in the physical body. The brain releases those signals. Any kind of negative emotions which are there, emotion of fear, emotion of anger, amygdala sends impulses to the hypothalamus, and then hypothalamus, the autonomic nervous system comes into the play. There are two divisions of autonomic nervous system inside the body. One is the sympathetic nervous system on the left hand side, you see, and the parasympathetic sympathetic nervous system, which is on the right hand side, what you see. So once the stress is generated, the sympathetic nervous system becomes active, because the job of the sympathetic nervous system is to put the body into fight and flight mode, to fight the stressor which is affecting, which is creating the stress. So that's where you see the box on the right, alarm. This is the first situation where the alarm has been ringing and the body has been placed in the fight and flight mode. What happens in the fight and flight mode? The various activities in the bodies have been increased, like the need for oxygen is increased, the respiratory system is activated, becomes faster, the heartbeat becomes faster. You must have experienced, like in the state of fear, the heartbeat becomes faster. Okay? The blood flow, the BP rises, the circulation system, blood circulation system becomes is activated, is accelerated by the fight and flight mode. A lot of stress hormones starts to get released into the bloodstream. The adrenaline, the adrenal glands are there. So hypothalamus, this is where the pituitary gland is there, which controls, and then it releases cortisol and adrenaline through the adrenal glands. They are released into the bloodstream. All this is happening as the sympathetic nervous system has become active to fight the stress. So when the hormones are released, that is where they are creating the resistance to the stress. The immune system is over there. Along with that, these cortisol and adrenaline, these hormones, they are acting as a resistor to the stress. Now, once the stress is gone, the stress situation is finished, the body needs to heal, body needs to come back. And that's where the parasympathetic nervous system becomes active to bring the body into the normal state. But in cases where stress is too long, sustained for a longer period of time, the parasympathetic nervous system, it puts the nervous exhaustion. Point number 3, the step number 3, what you see on top right, it puts the body into exhaust state and it shuts down the body. So your immune system and different, like digestive system, number of systems are shut down by this, by the parasympathetic nervous system. And this causes problems, the post-traumatic or post-stress disorders, which are created because of exhaustion after that, when it becomes exhausted. So they reflect in the form of BP issues, kidney issues, ulcers, cardiac issues, cancer. A lot of these things, they come into the body. So this is how subtle body and gross body, the imbalance and other things are creating the problems. The stress is acting in the life. So moving to the next. So stress and all, they have an effect on the personality of the person. Our behavior changes depending upon how these factors, the factors which are destabilizing the mind are acting inside the body, how the subtle body is acting. So the personality that way is classified broadly into the 4 types: the stone personality, the vegetable or the plant personality, animal personality, human personality. These are the 4 kingdoms that we see on the planet. When we look at the evolution sequence and all, we have the stones and the minerals kingdom, which is there. And then comes the 3 kingdoms where the life is acting, the plant kingdom or the vegetable kingdom, which is there. And then next in the evolution chain is the animal, the birds, animal, insects, that kingdom which is there. And the most evolved kingdom is the human kingdom which is there. Now, in terms of personality also, so there are different traits of this kingdom. The person starts to show these traits, these characteristics, and that's how this person's personality keeps, is changing. So a stone personality person will be a more very self-centered person, stubborn. The stone is very rigid, inflexible, lazy, lethargic. Stone at one place, it will remain there for its life. It will not move from that position. Same is that with the person with the stone personality. It lacks activity. We spoke about laziness. Okay. Irresponsible, no goal, no vision in the life, no sensitivity also towards the others, including the family, family also. So that is more of a stone personality. Plant personality, little bit more active than the stone, but as we see, the plants, they have only vertical movement. They don't have they don't leave that place. They are on the same place, but they are just growing above vertically, no horizontal movement. So the activity is slightly more than the stone personality. Still, that selfishness is there. Live for themselves and immediate family, me and my family. That's the circle of concern or the circle of activity or the field of activity for that these kind of people which is there. No regards towards or the sensitivity towards the society and the nation. Okay, always complaining. Such personalities. So vegetable personality or the plant personality. The stone personality is lot of tamas guna is there, very strong. In plant personality, rajas is also slightly there, but still tamas is more in that personality. But rajas is showing some activity, and sattva is almost missing here also. The sattva guna, the third guna, which is the animal personality, which have more movement, more activity. They can move from one place to the other place, unlike plants. That means the rajas has grown up, but lot of sensual activities there. Person is attracted towards the various subjects that this world has to offer. The subjects of pain and pleasure, the pleasure mostly. Okay. So the person runs behind the pleasures only, and then lives life in that circle. Okay. So selfish limits are up to family, community, like animals move into herds in their community, but they attack anybody who is coming from the outside the community. Either they run away or they attack out of fear. So such people care up to their community only, but another community comes, they attack onto that. They feel insecure that my community will be erased or eliminated by someone else. They see a threat always to them. They live in this insecurity. That is an animal kind of personality, which is there. Low levels of understanding. Of course, intellect is not developed in the animals, and they breed on others and the outside community. They exploit others. Okay, so that is how the animal personality is there. And then comes the human personality, which is more evolved, where all the faculties, the man, buddhi, chitta, ahankar, they are working in the fashion they are supposed to work. They are far less selfish, low level of attachment towards the various subjects of the world. They identify themselves with the nation or with the culture, and no differentiation between caste, creed, gender. The thought levels are higher than the animal. Sensitive to other humans, and get involved into charity, believe in caring, sharing. So that's the human personality, which is where the sattva guna has more increased here, and then rajas activity they are there. So this is how the three gunas inside and the subtle body and the personality gets created. And these stress, the factors which cause the stress, changes the behavior, changes the personality, and the personality disintegrates. The person, instead of evolving, starts devolving. So from a human personality, somebody may go into animal personality or go into the vegetable plant personality or to altogether towards the stone personality. Any classes, this personality can fall, disintegrate over there. So this is where a guide or a guru is very much required in the life, who understands the state of the mind, who understands the state of the person, guides, gives the person the necessary tools, techniques required at that stage that person can use, and then come out of this and continue the process of evolution instead of devolution. Inner evolution, inner devolution, all this is at the inner level we are talking about. So the quality of the subtle body basically defines our personality. So personality, when we talk about, you can see there, we are talking about the two aspects, the inner personality and the outer personality which is there. The inner personality is the one which is the subtle body, and the outer personality is the gross body which is performing the actions. The inner personality is doing all the thinking and feeling, the thoughts and desires which are there, and the outer personality is performing the actions. Okay, so that's the relation. The subtle body is driving the gross body, the gross personality. So the quality of inner personality and the quality of outer personality will determine the quality of the overall personality of the person. And the value of this total personality is the highest. It is a simple mathematical thing. It will be highest when quality of inner personality is equal to the quality of outer personality. That means both are 100%. Call 100% inner personality, 100% outer personality, you get a 100% total personality, which is the perfect personality. If one is 100%, the other one is 99%, you are not going to get the maximum value. You will be getting the 99% out of it. Not still there is a gap over there. So the value is highest when both are equal. What does it mean? What does it mean? Quality of inner personality equal to quality of outer personality. That means what is inside is reflecting outside. The way you are inside, the way you are outside. There is no kind of tampering happening between the two. Today, a lot of people, they try to hide. They pose themselves as different. They come with a mask, but they have hidden agendas. So inside personality may be thinking about doing damage to others, but they will pose as the friends of humanity, and then they will come and cheat and fraud. There are so many people today. Okay. So when quality, it has to be transparent personality. What is inside is outside is a transparent personality, and that's where the value of the personality is highest. So how this energy management can be done, how the personality can be managed, how we can deal with the stress that these factors are coming, how we can deal with all this. Stress cannot be made zero. As long as the life is there, the wear and tear will happen, the stress will happen. It has to be managed. It has to be dealt with. It cannot be eliminated. So that's where the concept of sound comes in, because sound is the creation point. It is the fundamental energy on which this entire creation is there, and this entire game of life or the dance of life is going on. So sound is that the fundamental thing, and sound helps in refining the personality. So subtle body is defining our personality, and with sound, we can further refine our personality and evolve uh, to the higher standards, to the higher levels. And various scriptures, they have uh, indicated the importance and the significance of sound, the vibration. When I say sound, I'm talking about the vibration. So Amrita Bindu Upanishad says, with sound, one should practice meditation. Then without sound, one should meditate on the transcendent, Brahm, that infinite, that eternal, that source, which is there, the existence, the source of existence, which is there. By meditating without sound, the existent cannot remain absent. So the importance of sound is there. When these vibrations, we use the specific vibrations which are there, like these mantras, they are nothing but they are the set of specific vibrations. They create the vibrations at a specific frequencies which are there. So when you go to your master will give different mantras to different people. Why? Because everybody's personality status is different. Like you go to a doctor, the same doctor will give two different medicines. Although you report the same symptoms, he will give you the two different medicines. Because everybody's status is different. That is how the master will give different mantras and different tools and techniques, but they are based on sound. They are the construction of these strings based on sound. And when you use this sound, with that, slowly this sound permeates into the different layers, from the grosser layer to the subtle layers of the body, mind and intellect. It permeates into that and then refines the whole personality. Eventually, sound is the creation point. So sound has to be the termination point, because that is the first point. So it has to be the last point. Then only the full circle is there. The life is a full circle. Then only the circle gets completed. No other energy can take you to that completeness. Only sound can take you to that completeness. And then there is a point where you go beyond the sound, transcendental. And that is what this Amrita Bindu Upanishad is telling. Meditate on the transcendent. Sound can only take you to the no sound, soundless. Where there is no creation, where there is no death, where there is no change, something which is transcendental, something that transcends the matter, something that transcends all the boundaries, the extraterrestrial, transcendental, which is there. So subtle body, which is there, there are nadis inside the body. These nadis are the subtle channels of the subtle energy. Three important nadis are there: Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna. These are the three nadis, three channels of energy which are there in the spinal column. Sushumna is the central channel inside the spinal column. That is defined as the gateway to experience the subtle body. And the key to this is held by the Guru. The Guru gives you the key for this. This subtle body is a high quanta of energy which is there. Like when you go deeper into the ocean, as you go down, the pressure increases. There is high energy at the lower levels, which is there. Animals which are there at the lower layers cannot come on the surface layers, because their body is designed to stay under that pressure. Moment they come up, their body may explode. Similarly, the animals, the sea animals which are on the upper layers cannot go down into the high pressure zones, because their body is not designed for that. Now for anybody, for a sadhak to experience the subtle body, he needs to develop that energy to be able to enter into this high pressure or the high energy zone where this subtle body is there. High quanta of energy is required, and through this energy management, through this sound energy, only one can develop and channelize the energy, get the knowledge, and then experience this subtle body for further refinement. And once develop the energy, one can channelize it into the Sushumna, and the awareness enters into the subtle, and then the person gets the experience of the subtle body. So how it generally it is done? Rhythmic breathing, as prana is there, which is holding the subtle and the gross body. The prana becomes very important over here, and there's a rhythmic breathing is a technique, because that is breathing is also sound. When you are breathing, there is a sound which is going on. The energy builds up with this rhythmic breathing. When there is a inhale and exhale, there is a rhythm between these two. Is chord is struck, that energy builds up, and then that high quanta, when it is there, then this energy force within Sushumna passes through the energy centers inside the body. So the root chakra at the bottom is the gateway, from where the gateway or the entrance point to this, and one can evolve aware and experience the subtle body, experience the divine experiences which are there, which are happening at the level of Chitta Akasha. Chitta, what we talked about that. So this is how various experiences in various scriptures, various masters have defined, but this is the path they have given to experience the subtle body. So inner energy management leads to inner harmony. Once there is inner harmony, the harmony around the cell, once the 5 elements of the body gets harmonized, the 5 elements, they are synchronized, which are around us in the surroundings. And this is how the universal harmony, this is the natural process of harmony that happens. So subtle body is important. Energy management is important over there. And cultivating the right attitude, what we talked about. Together with these, one can achieve the universal harmony that one desires into the life. So subtle body is also not the truth, like gross body is not the truth. Subtle body is also not the truth. This is also a matter. As you can see the picture of the moon, during this 15-day cycle or the 28-day cycle, moon will go from a full moon into a no moon, zero moon night. But that doesn't mean the existence of moon is not there. Moon is still there into its existence. Only its personality is changing every day. One day it is a full moon, one day it is a no moon. In between there is a crescent. We see. So the personality is changing, but the identity of the moon still remains same. It is not changing. The existence of the moon remains over there. The same thing, the personality which goes through these 4 classes, what we talked about, that keeps changing. A person can be a dirty mind person, a negative person, or a spiritual person, positive person. It keeps changing. So that is the personality. Personality is the function of the matter, and identity is the function of the consciousness. That is the truth which is there. So subtle body is still the changing, the personality, because subtle body defines the personality. The mind is changing, the buddhi is changing, the ego is changing. It is all matter, and they define personality. And personality is also changing like the personality of the moon. But your identity still remains intact. It never changes, which is the function of consciousness. So still, the subtle body is not the truth that has been rejected by the sages. That is not the truth. Your mind is also not the truth. Your physical body is also not the truth. So with this, we will end up the chapter on the subtle body, and then we will pick up the causal body from New Year 2022 onwards. Before that, we will have a group discussion. There are less chances it will happen next week. If not next Sunday, it will happen on the third Sunday of the month. It will be confirmed to you. So with that, we will do the Shanti part. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you. Over to you, Prashantji.
Thank you, Anurag Bhaiya, and thanks a lot, all of you, for joining. We will inform you about the next session, which will be maybe on next Sunday or after that. So till that time, have a great day ahead. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Anuragji. Thank you, everybody.